Hey guys, this is Dawn. In today's video, I have a pair of fun and bold cards for you. Now these are super simple, very quick to pull together, but they are not short on style. One of my favorite color palettes is the Autumnal Color Palette, so let's jump right in and take a look at how I created these. I know for a big impact, I can use large die cuts to create an all over background, so I pulled out the Lovely Layers Fall Foliage, along with the Fall For You stamp and coordinating die. Now for my color palette, I decided to go with I looked on the color wheel and I chose analogous color palette here. So I went from purple down to yellow and I chose a couple different shades of each because I thought that this would just be a beautiful combination to cut all of my leaves from, and I knew that they would all look great together. They're all next to each other on the color wheel. So I usually like to cut down my cardstock into pieces, and then I'm going to cut my leaves from each color of cardstock. I did decide later to add in one of the other leaf shapes. So I think right now I'm using the maple, and then I figured I'd want a little bit of variety in the background. And I probably should have done this all at the same time. If you were to create this card, I would definitely do this at the same time. I would put the two dies down on each color and cut them at the same time. But I ended up cutting them one after the other because, I just like to make everything take longer. Okay, so now that I had all of my pieces cut, I knew that I'd have more than enough for one card. So I actually ended up making two. And you can see here how beautiful all those colors look together. Off camera, I arranged my die cuts to cover an A2 card panel, and now I'm going to use the press and seal trick to adhere them all down. I like to tape my card panel to my work surface. That will just keep that from being lifted with the press and seal when I go to lift the die cuts. Once I've got them in place, any little adjustments, I'm going to go ahead and lay that press and seal down on top of it, lightly press it into those die cuts, burnish the left side onto my work surface, and then I can fold this back like a hinge. I'm going to use the Be Creative liquid adhesive to apply this. Make sure you get all those little points and edges. You don't want anything to lift. And now I can just fold this back into place and press everything onto that card panel. I'll give it a second to let that glue adhere, and then I can just peel that press and seal back and all of my die cuts will stay in place. I'm going to set this to the side to dry before I trim off the overhanging pieces. I find that it cuts cleaner if the dies and the glue are completely dry. While that's drying, I'm going to work on my sentiment. I'm using that Fall For You stamp set. I've cut down a panel here that's 3.5 by 2.5 inches, and I'm going to stamp that using the Be Creative Intense Black ink. And again, I'm going to make two cards, so I'll go ahead and stamp out a second sentiment while I'm at it. I know in the beginning I showed you the matching dies for this set, and I thought I was going to use it, but in the end I decided I liked them on the rectangle, so I just kept them on the rectangle. All right, so now it's time to trim off that excess. I'm just going to line this up on my guillotine trimmer and just trim off anything that's hanging over. For the first card, I left it at a full A2 panel, and I'm going to adhere that directly to my card base using some Be Creative liquid adhesive. I wanted to keep both of these cards very similar, a little bit different, but all using the same color palettes. So I'm going to adhere that directly to the front, and then for my sentiment panel, I'm going to mat it using that light grayish green cardstock there. Add a little adhesive to the back, and then I'm just going to have it's a little less than a 1/16 of an inch reveal. Just the slightest hint. And actually, I end up changing this card in the end. I'm going to leave it in though so that you can see what it looked like before. In hindsight, I think I liked it better before, but hey, decisions were made, things were done, and you can't go back now. So I'm using the little bit of foam tape here to pop this one up off of that card base. Again, this is the one that I've trimmed down about 1/4 of an inch off of each side. And then again, I'm going to use some foam tape to adhere that sentiment. I thought they needed just a little something. I mean, they look good just like this, but I wanted to add a little something to just snazz them up a little bit. So I took the Pacific Northwest pearls, and I'm going to fill in all of the blank spaces in the background on this card, and on the other one I put a pearl everywhere there was a dot in that sentiment. Okay, so here are the finished cards for now. Again, this is the one that I do end up changing, and I wanted to give you a look at it beforehand because I'm still on the fence about whether I liked it better before or after. You'll have to let me know in the comments below. I do love the way these turned out. These are always great for pulling together quick cards that make a big impact. And I hope you enjoyed these as well. Remember, if you're looking for any of the supplies featured in today's video, I'll have them listed in the description box below. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.